Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Growth Graph, and we've been out for a week or so, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've not really been there. And for those of you who can't recognize me, take a good look. Right. Uh,
Okay.
but yeah, jokes apart,
Mm,
we have been out for a week. We've
yep.
been doing a lot of things that have required our time, and we couldn't really come in front of the camera. We did do one shoot, which completely ended up messing up because the recording went for a toss.
Yeah.
So yes, we're back.
Yep. Yeah. So we've been very aggressively hiring, and you have been very hands-on with it, right? So how has that whole exercise been for you?
I know it's been quite crazy. I had moved away from recruiting people and gone to other stuff. And then right now I see that the company is going through an interesting growth phase. So I said, okay, let's get back, get our hands and feet dirty or wet, or however you want to call it. So into the hiring funnel we go, right? And I use the word funnel specifically because a lot of times people assume that hiring just happens. People, you put an ad out there, somebody will apply, and you get
Right.
you get the right candidate. But getting the right candidate is almost like getting your right client, right? And from a marketing standpoint, and
True.
many people don't really recognize that if you don't have a proper funnel for hiring, you're
Mm-hmm.
not really going to do it. And people don't look at it from a marketing lens. You look at it from a HR lens, right? Not to put the HR function down, but the thing is that you're not really focused on it in that format. And so, what I found out was depending on who puts out the ad, depending on the network of people that share it,
Mm-hmm.
there's a vast difference in the type of applicants that come in.
Yeah, I realized that too because having been on the ops side of things, I'm more concerned about what they bring to the table in terms of skill set and whatnot,
Right.
right? That so most people have the skill to do it, like because
Correct.
what we are looking for, I mean, by we, I mean
The
companies
company
in general, right? The skill that people look for is very basic, I think, but hiring the right character is what makes the
matters.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you really identify and why do you think that's important to?
So we have a matrix that we follow when we kind of hire, and I kind of run it at the back of my head.
Hmm.
It's more intuitive, but at the end of the day, there is a culture fit that needs to happen, and I think every organization is built by its people.
Hmm.
And if you have the right kind of people with the right kind of attitude and the right kind of um, ideation on what needs to happen, right, from their personal side of things as well, you get an extremely motivated and extremely interesting team that will move mountains to get you where you want to go, right?
Uh,
And that is very, very interesting. But one rotten apple can actually spoil the bunch. So that's also something that you got to be extremely careful about in the whole thing. So when you hire, you're hiring to make sure that there is a set of things like as leadership, as founders, you have a certain mindset of how your employees or how the guys that you work with are going to be. And if that is not there when you do the interviews and you're not really feeling that connect,
right. So I read somewhere, probably on a LinkedIn post. I really don't remember where this comes from. They say the first, say 50 people that you hire,
right?
they are like the engine that makes it happen, right?
Correct.
So these 50 people should live and breathe your product. They should know the product or services that the company offers
Mm,
better than the founders themselves.
right.
So when you have that in place, then that's when things
Things
go
just rotate.
rotate and go on a flywheel. So it's very essential to get it right, the first core team that you build.
So true.
And that's this thing. It also reminds me of a book that I read. It's called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Nice.
He talks about this concept called mastermind,
Mm-hmm.
where it's a concept where you bring a few people together with a common goal and focus, and that's where magic happens.
Very interesting. So essentially, a community or a group of people.
Yeah, two people can move mountains when a group of people put their mind together and focus and get things done.
So true.
It reminds me of a '90s cartoon that I used to watch. Captain Planet. He usually says, "With your powers combined."
Yeah. I just remember it was earth, fire, wind, water, and heart.
So everybody has their superpower, right?
Right.
And when you bring all of that down and focus on a common goal,
Yeah.
that's the secret, and
So-
that's like the shortcut, or I don't know how you
I guess
say
it's
that.
like the secret sauce, or the mix that really brings in that whole element and enables you to succeed at the end of the day.
Yeah, the thing is, it's more than just skill, right? It's the idea that is bigger than you, bigger than your skill set, because skills can be easily learned,
Correct.
right? So you and I have rolled up our sleeves and done so many different things.
Correct.
But which is not essentially a skill set.
Mm.
But still, we learned how to do that, hack our way into it, and move things move things, right?
Right.
So
I think there was a very interesting study that comes to mind when you're talking about a couple of people coming together in order to make things happen.
right.
And this study, I believe, was has been quoted for various reasons, but one of the reasons is from the perspective of being successful, or being in a position where people are able to make things happen. And this is apparently the longest study ever done in the world by Harvard University. It's running for 80 plus years right now.
Whoa.
Apparently, yeah. So they've literally gone. So they started with, like, I think it was 50 people, one batch in Harvard of a specific course, and then they moved out, and then those guys ended up getting married, so their wives got involved in the study. Then the kids got involved. So it's like it's gone like. Yeah, it's gone like a couple of I think two generations, and now the third generation is about to hit into the study, something like that. It's ridiculously crazy, right? But the study made a fundamental discovery. Two things I'll talk about there. One is they found that people have longer lives based on the community or the associations that they have around. So the happier you are within associations and within the community that you have, the longer you live. So it's got nothing to do with how good type of food you eat and all of that. It's more about the company you keep, apparently. Okay, that was one of the interesting insights that came from the study. The other insight that was very interesting is they said success begets success. So what that essentially means is, or it reminds me of another saying, which is fundamentally, show me your friends and I will show you who you are. I'm sure you've heard of that, right? Your social network or the community that you interact with and rub shoulders with essentially give you a boost in the direction in which you get to work and succeed at the end of the day. So it's a very, very interesting thing. And I've noticed that organizations try to build communities. Now, they do it from a marketing perspective so that they have a captive audience that they can go to, and so on and so forth, and a number of reasons. But companies are actively building like-minded people to come together in order to ensure that those communities or that groups of networks come together and they can benefit from it, right?
Right.
I don't know if you remember, a couple of years ago, we were testing out some community applications because we wanted to build, we were testing out the whole concept of community. And we tested a plethora of apps.
Apps, yeah.
I don't know if you remember any, but I remember Mighty Networks, I believe it was, as one of them.
Right.
Then there was circle.so or something like that I remember vaguely. But a very interesting community that has multiple facets. It's not just in a specific area is Discord,
Yeah.
right?
Discord has been a great place for people to come together, especially in the gaming world.
Exactly.
But very recently, with the whole explosion of Midjourney and
Yes.
AI generated images, it's just it's become some place that everybody goes to, right?
Right.
I mean, I've played my fair share of video games, so I was a little familiar with Discord, but a lot of us in the office, we started using Midjourney and the other thing, Blue Willow, and the other
Right.
image generation.
And they all run on Discord, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
it's very interesting.
True.
And we were also talking about a few other communities that we were part of earlier. So I also remember this person who had come on one of a podcast a very, very long time ago.
Right.
Who's very big on community building. Sangram Vajre.
Right, he did the peak community. I mean, he still does it. I mean, that he did it. And peak is all about improving yourself the 1% every day. I still
Right.
remember that. That was one thing that I remember. And he brought together all the marketing folks together in one room and saying, can you improve yourself 1% every day? A brilliant concept. I really enjoyed it. And I remember we worked with them quite closely for a couple of months, and then it was an interesting journey, so to speak.
Right. Yep. And you were talking about bringing like-minded people together in a room, and success begets success and whatnot. That's an incredible thought, really. Like, so when you surround yourself with a people of how you would like to present yourself, so that really rubs off on you, and that's a very easy way to reach your goals, right?
Correct.
So you want to become an entrepreneur, start hanging out with entrepreneurs.
Right. Makes sense. I mean, there's an acronym that I came across. It's basically called the CAN
Right.
method, right? So essentially, it talks about how communities benefit you, so you can do it. I mean, I'm not being coy or corny here by saying that, but that's the acronym that is there. And right, so CAN is a very simple acronym, which I think everybody can benefit out of, especially when it can be just two people, but
Right.
it could be multiple, like in a community that is built for a specific purpose. But the way I see CAN is, C is there's a collective intelligence that comes when more than one person comes into a room, right? You're bringing two heads, so it should have more value, and everybody has their own insights, and you can bring that intelligence together, and you can benefit off of that, right? First
Right.
of all, A is accountability, because you are a set of friends, or a group of people. What you say can and should be accountable. So you can't just say something just because you want to say something. It has to have, it has to have some relevance, and it can't be just off the cuff. I mean, of course, if you're a group of friends, it's cool, but at the end of the day, what you're trying to achieve and trying to do is, get this group and community to kind of like help you, right? So you build a system of accountability automatically. in that thing.
Great.
So if you say something which is a hypothesis, somebody will challenge you at the end of the day. They'll say, "Oh, what's going on? Right? Does that really happen? Hey, wait a minute, I don't think so." So those kind of conversations are happening. The last one, which is the N in CAN, is the ability to network. So we're here together. Your network is very different from my network. We've come from different places. Now, because we overlap, I now have an intrinsic access to your network.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'll be saying, you know what, for my next podcast guest, I'm looking for somebody in this kind of area, feeling. Wait a minute, I know somebody, right?
Yeah.
So those kind of conversations. I mean, that's just one example because we're sitting in a podcast and having that. But what I'm saying is CAN is very, very effective. So collective intelligence So CAN, simply put, collective intelligence, A for accountability, and N for networking ability. So that really gives you that oomph or that extra boost that you need to kind of go out and conquer and be successful.
Excellent. So this was very interesting conversation with you.
Yep.
So key takeaways are surround yourself with brilliant people and embrace communities, basically.
Yes. And I mean, I'm saying, communities don't have to be formal. For example, you can have multiple types of communities. They can be ad hoc communities. They can be formal communities. But I'm saying be open to communities that are organic as well. Because you never know where your next big idea, the next big solution comes from for a specific problem that you have, right? We are social beings as humans, and I think that social element is enabled and activated the moment we walk into a community, right?
Absolutely.
And it doesn't have to, I mean, it could be for any kind of reason that multiple people come together. It could be that I studied with you. It could be that I work with you. It could be that I have the same beliefs as you. It could be that I hate something in equivalence to you. I mean, it doesn't matter.
What I understand is this be open to socialize and interact with people. Not only that, you're already doing that.
Correct.
It's the ability to leverage that to your advantage.
Perfect. And
amazing.
And without malice, right?
Right, of course.
Right. So you're leveraging it, but you're leveraging it where it's a win-win scenario for everyone.
Absolutely.
So, that's how I would put it. Yeah.
Excellent. So thanks for your time today.
Yep. I think we also need to tell everyone that we're not doing this on a daily basis because a lot of stuff happening here in the office. So I think one of the things that our rants are great, but you get to see a 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but it actually takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to kind of put all of this together to record, and then there's a post-production and so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
Right? But we are going to, I think, tone it down a little, but there's going to be more consistency.
What's going to happen on a daily basis is there's going to be a newsletter that we are going to send out.
Yes.
So that is something that we want to really put out there.
Yep.
Our newsletter is called Atomic Wire. You can go subscribe to it at atomicwire.industryatom.com.
Get plugged into Atomic Wire. That's the idea. Atomic Wire.
And it's going to be super cool, super fun. Your daily dose of what you need right on your inbox. And we promise not to spam. And we promise to give you amazing content, and you'll love it. Yeah.
Yep, you will. Looking forward. Till next time, guys. Adios.
Take care. See ya. Subscribe, please. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.